What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our Big Ten football channel. We've got our Week 1 power rankings in the Big Ten as we look ahead to Week 1 of the college football season. It is finally here. Normally, these videos will be up on Mondays, but things are a little different this week, and they might be a little different next week because we have a game on Monday, so the week will start later. But anyways, we've ranked the teams 1 through 14, where I think they are right now, where they're going to begin the season, not necessarily where I have these teams at the end of the year. I think some of these teams will improve as the season goes. Some of them might wear down. Who knows? But at number 14, it's pretty obvious we have Rutgers. I don't think there's really any debate here. Rutgers is awful. I'm not trying to be mean, but Rutgers was awful last year. But coming into this year, there's a little bit of hope. You got Raheem Blackshear back at running back, a pretty good running back. And then I think McLean Carter ultimately wins that starting quarterback job. Remember, he started at Texas Tech at one time. So this is a pretty good kid at quarterback. If Rutgers can get it together, maybe they can win a few games this year. We'll see. But right now, without seeing this team on the field, I've got to start them out at number 14. And while I did say that they're awful, they might not be awful this year. They might be improved a lot. I think there's potential there for that. But at number 13, we have Illinois, another team that I think is going to be improved. You look top to bottom in the Big Ten, I think the teams that were in the bottom half of the Big Ten will all be better this year. I really do. And Illinois, another perfect example. You got Brandon Peters, a transfer quarterback from Michigan. How is he going to play here? They've started to recruit pretty well, starting to build a little momentum. I just feel like this Illinois program is coming back to being competitive. Are they going to win a Big Ten championship in the next 5 years? Probably not. But I think they're getting more competitive to where they can start getting to bowl games on a consistent basis. And right now, though, I have them at number 13. Indiana is number 12. This is a pretty good team, and they're all the way at number 12. That shows you the strength of the Big Ten this week. Now, they don't have a bunch of playoff contenders, but the strength top to bottom is there. I feel like the Big Ten this year is going to be much stronger than it was last year, especially like I mentioned in the bottom half. Indiana, perfect example of that. This is going to be a high-powered offense. You got a lot of weapons back with Peyton Ramsey at quarterback and some other options at quarterback there as well. Indiana will be a good team this year, but because they play in the Big Ten, because the schedule is pretty tough, they might not even make it to a bowl game, and that's just how tough I think it's going to be for these middle of the pack, lower tier Big Ten teams this year, fighting for those wins. Maryland, another example of that at number 11. Josh Jackson, the transfer quarterback coming in. How good is he going to be? That's a big question. Anthony McFarland really lit it up in the end of last year at running back. I think he is going to have a big year for this team. But the first-year head coach, a little hesitant to pick Maryland to do great this year. Again, it's one of those teams that we have to see on the field, see what they're going to look like. But Maryland could be an intriguing team to watch, although they are in that tough Big Ten Eastern Division. Number 10 is Purdue. This is a tough team to figure out. Jeff Brom seems to have things really going in the right direction for the Boilermakers. Seems to, but they lost a lot from last year. I don't think we can automatically assume that this team is going to be, a contender in the Big Ten West this year. I think they have that potential. Rondell Moore is maybe my favorite player to watch in the country. You got him back at wide receiver. Elijah Sindelar now steps back into that quarterback role. He had some success a couple of years ago. Coming off some injuries, how will that play into it? This is going to be a fairly experienced defense, although they weren't very good last year. They do have some experience back there. Minnesota, I think, is a sleeper team. I think they are a legit contender in the Big Ten West. I think they're going to be that good. You look at what they have coming back really on both sides of the ball. They've got 3 running backs that could all start for most FBS teams in the country. I mean, they are really loaded in the backfield. Defense, I think, is going to be really solid. Going to come down to the quarterback position. Really, I think that's how you measure the success for Minnesota. How good will they actually be? Will they be a contender, or will they be a 6-6 team? Really tough to tell at this point. And we move on now to number 8, and that's the Badgers of Wisconsin, ranked in some preseason top 25 polls. I'm not buying this team just yet. I want to see, and I haven't even read who's going to start at quarterback. I don't know if they announced or not, but I want to see what they look like at that position, that offensive line. How big of a step do they take back there? They lost pretty much their entire offensive line, lost some key players on defense. Jonathan Taylor is back. He is maybe the best running back in the country. So you've got him, and that is going to be big for them, but they've got to be able to throw it sometimes. And Again, are they going to be able to play solid defense this year? That'll be a big question for Wisconsin, but they are a contender in the West. So is Iowa. Iowa is at number 7. Hawkeyes come into this season with Nate Stanley back at quarterback. Lost his 2 big weapons at tight end. Defensively, they lost a lot. They've got some really talented players there, but I don't know if the depth is necessarily there, at least with experienced players coming into this season, so that could be a question mark for them. Need to run the football better. They didn't run it all that well last year. That's something that Iowa has got to do. I don't think you're going to come out and see them, because they have Nate Stanley back, come out and run the air raid. They're still going to try to run the football, and they need to be able to do that to be successful. But this is another team that I think is a contender in the Big Ten West, a division that's really wide open. The team I picked to win it is Nebraska. I have them at number 6. I don't have them as the top-ranked Big Ten West team right now. And people are going to say, well, if you're talking about coming into the season, this team was 4-8 last year, but you have to look at how they finished the year. Had a lot of momentum, had some close losses, had some impressive wins as well. And there at the end of the season, and with all they have coming back on offense, with Adrian Martinez and some really good skill players there, I think this offense is going to be very dangerous, very explosive. Defensively, that's a big question mark. And if they're awful there, this team is probably going to struggle to make a bowl game. If the defense can play pretty well and complement that offense, I think this team has a chance to win the Big Ten West. Obviously, they have a chance because I picked them. Northwestern, though, is still my top-ranked team out of the West. They won the West last year. They have a good bit coming back. I believe in Hunter Johnson. I think he's going to be really solid for them at quarterback. That's really probably the only question mark for Northwestern. You say, well, they got a new quarterback, but they've got it everywhere else. And I think this team will be right there in the thick of things again in the West. I think they're not getting the credit that they deserve. You look at I think one poll they're 25th, the other one they're not even ranked. This is a good football team, and they're our highest ranked Big Ten West team, and that tells you the top 4 teams are all out of the East. No surprise here. The East has been the better division now for quite some time. We start with Penn State at number 4. This is a team that I think is going to be good, but I think they might not be quite as good as some people are expecting. Again, I still think they're better than every team in the West, but I think they're 4th in their own division. Sean Clifford, how good will he be at quarterback? They've got some talented young running backs in there. We'll see how they play. Looking for some weapons maybe at wide receiver, but defensively they should be solid. It's a team that will be good, but I don't know if there's enough coming back to say that this is a playoff contender or anything like that. Michigan State is kind of right on that border. Are they a playoff contender? Are they not? If they can stay healthy, if Brian Lewerke can step his game up and again stay healthy, and if they can run the football a little bit better, just like with Iowa, this team struggled to run it last year. This defense, I think, is going to be the best defense in the Big Ten. I really feel that way. And because of that defense, if you can complement that with just a little bit of offense, I think they have a chance to maybe get to the Big Ten championship game. And who knows, maybe even become a playoff contender. You look at their schedule, it's not horrible. Of course, they have to get through the Big Ten East, but in the non-conference, all you've got is Arizona State. So perhaps they're a contender. But I think the top 2 teams are the big-time contenders, the teams that have a legitimate chance, a very good chance of getting to the college football playoffs. Number 2 is Michigan, the team that I picked to win the East. But again, coming into this year, I want to see that new offense before I'm ready to put them at number 1. Obviously, you know who number 1 is, and they haven't been able to beat that team. So I want to see, do they look a lot better than that team? If they do, I can put them to number 1. But at this point, I'm a little hesitant there. I'm going to keep Michigan at number 2. But again, this is the team that I picked to win the East. The defense, I think, will be solid. Maybe not as good as last year, but it's all about that new offense, and they're going to be much more aggressive on that side of the ball. How will that look? But number 1 is Ohio State, and it's hard to put a team at number 1 that has a brand new head coach and has a brand new quarterback, and that's why I don't have this team finishing number 1. But coming into the season, just the talent that they have on the roster, I think it's the most talented roster in the Big Ten. Justin Fields, we know, is a very talented player, and even if he doesn't get the quarterback position down from a passing standpoint, still an elite runner. And you've got weapons there in the backfield. I think they get creative on offense. And even if they struggle to throw it a little bit, this will still be a very good offense. I think maybe about Auburn with Nick Marshall back in 2013 when they went to the national championship. I think this team has that type of offensive capability if they go that way. Again, if he does struggle to throw the football. And defensively, I think Ohio State's going to be much better this year as well. So I've got the Buckeyes at number 1. We will watch all the games in week 1, reevaluate the teams, and come back with a brand new power rankings next week. And it won't just be the winners go up, the losers go down. We will be evaluating these teams and really giving you our rankings for how good these teams actually are. And so that's what we'll be doing each and every week here on this channel and all the other conference channels. But I would love to get your thoughts on the Big Ten this season and how these rankings look. Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? How would you change it? Give me your power rankings. Anything you want to add down in the comments below, feel free to do that. Thank you guys for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on the Big Ten channel.